Shalom, Israel. It's Kazawan. And the name of this video is, Should I Eat Meat or Be a Vegetarian? I'm doing this video because a lot of people have asked which choice is the best choice according to the Bible. Now, this is going to be a short video, but hopefully this will answer the question sufficiently. So let's start at Romans 14 and verse 1. It says, Him that is weak in the faith receive ye, but not to doubtful disputations. Verse 2. For one believeth that he may eat all things. Another, who is weak, eateth herbs. Now, many people use this verse to justify eating pork, lobster, shrimp, and other things contrary to the dietary law, because it says, eat all things. However, when we look closely at this verse, we see that Paul is not talking about those types of food. That is not the context of this passage. The end of verse 2 says, Another who is weak eateth herbs. Now, what are herbs? Herbs in the Bible are vegetables. So Paul is making a comparison between a person who only eats vegetables and another person who eats vegetables and meat. The eat all things is not a reference to eating unclean food. It's a reference to eating both meat and vegetables, as opposed to only eating vegetables. Verse 3, it says, Let not him that eateth despise him that eateth not. In other words, the person who chooses to eat meat should not despise the person who doesn't want to eat meat. It says, And let not him which eateth not judge him that eateth. So the person who chooses not to eat meat shouldn't judge the person who chooses to eat meat. It says, For the Most High have received him. So both people are accepted by the Most High. Rather you only eat vegetables, or if you eat vegetables and meat. Again, this is talking about clean meat, according to the law. Verse 4, it says, Who art thou that judgest another man's servant? To his own master he standeth or falleth. Yea, he shall be holden up, for the Most High is able to make him stand. In other words, the Most High decides what is right and wrong. Our personal decisions don't decide what is right and wrong for other people. If the Most High doesn't condemn something, we can't condemn it either. In this situation, it's all about personal preference. Now, Paul is going to give us an example in verse 5. Watch, it says, One man esteemeth one day above another. Another esteemeth every day alike. Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. Now, many people have tried to use this verse to justify Sunday worship as opposed to keeping the Sabbath day, because it says, One man esteemeth one day above another. But again, understanding context is very important. This is not talking about changing the Sabbath day to Sunday based on personal preference. How do we know that? Because the Most High himself established the Sabbath day in the beginning, and he made it holy throughout all our generations. What Paul is talking about is a particular day that somebody makes special for personal reasons. In other words, something good may happen to somebody on a particular day. So that day becomes special to that person as it comes around. But to someone else, it's just another day. That's what Paul is talking about. There's nothing wrong with a particular day having special meaning to a person, as long as they acknowledge the Most High for that day. Verse 6, it says, He that regardeth the day, regardeth it unto the Lord. See, this person acknowledges this day as special, but he does it with respect towards the Most High. It says, And he that regardeth not the day, to the Lord he does not regard it. So this person doesn't acknowledge this particular day as special, but he still gives glory to the Most High for the day. So the point that Paul is making is that it's a personal decision to esteem a particular day above another, or to view the day as just another day. Neither person is wrong, and neither person should judge the other person's point of view. It says, "He that eateth, eateth to the Lord, for he giveth the Most High thanks. And he that eateth not, to the Lord he eateth not, and giveth the Most High thanks." So one man chooses to eat meat, and he thanks the Most High. Another man chooses not to eat meat, and he thanks the Most High. Both people are justified in their decision. See, you have to understand that this was a big deal at this time, because men were teaching that it was a sin to eat meat. Let's jump down to verse 13. It says, "Let us not therefore judge one another anymore." Why did Paul say this? Because again, there were people teaching that eating meat was a sin and that you should only eat vegetables. Paul said, let's not judge each other about this. It says, "But judge this rather, that no man put a stumbling block or an occasion to fall in his brother's way." Verse 14, "I know and am persuaded by the Lord Yahushua that there is nothing unclean of itself." So here Paul says that there is nothing unclean of itself. So I have to stop here because people will take this statement and say, see, everything is clean. Pork, shrimp, crab, lobster. No, it's not saying that. We have to stay within the context of the discussion. Paul is not teaching that all food is clean. How do we know? We're going to come right back to this verse. This is Acts 28 and 17. This is Paul talking. It says, "And it came to pass that after 3 days, Paul called the chief of the Jews together. And when they were come together, he said unto them, Men and brethren," here it is, "though I have committed nothing against the people," watch this, "or customs of our fathers, yet was I delivered prisoner from Jerusalem into the hands of the Romans." So we see here that Paul said he didn't do anything against the customs of his forefathers. Now we know that our forefathers upheld the dietary law. So Paul was not teaching that all food was clean. He kept the dietary law. Context is the key. Let's go back to Romans 14 and 14. It says, "I know and am persuaded by the Lord Yahushua that there is nothing unclean of itself." So Paul is addressing the argument that eating meat makes you unclean. He's saying that that is not true. It says, "But to him that esteemeth anything to be unclean, to him it is unclean." In other words, if you decide within yourself that eating meat is unclean, then it's unclean to you, but it's not unclean according to the law. Again, he's talking about meats that are lawful, not bacon strips. This whole argument has nothing to do with that. Now, watch this. Verse 15, it says, "But if thy brother be grieved with thy meat, now walkest thou not charitably." In other words, if you're eating meat around people who are offended by it, even though that meat is clean, if you don't consider their feelings, then you're not walking in love. It says, "Destroy not him with thy meat for whom Yahushua died." Verse 16, "Let not then your good be evil spoken of." In other words, don't let what the Most High allows to be used against you because of your inconsideration of others. Verse 17, "For the kingdom of the Most High is not meat and drink." You see, the kingdom is not based on eating meat and drinking. It says, "But righteousness and peace and joy in the Holy Ghost." In other words, eating meat or not eating meat is not a deciding factor of your salvation. but being righteous and peaceful among your brethren is. Verse 18. For he that in these things serveth Yahushai is acceptable to the Most High, and approved of men. Verse 19. Let us therefore follow after the things which make for peace, and things wherewith one may edify another. Verse 20. For meat destroy not the work of the Most High. See, if a person eats meat, that won't prevent them from doing the work of the Most High. It says, all things indeed are pure. Again, the context of all things is meat and vegetables. Clean meat and vegetables. Both of them are acceptable to the Most High. It says, but it is evil for that man who eateth with offense. So if you purposely eat things around your brothers and sisters that you know offend them, that in itself is evil. Why? Verse 21. It is good neither to eat flesh, nor to drink wine, nor anything whereby thy brother stumbleth, or is offended, or is made weak. In other words, don't eat or drink anything around your brothers and sisters if it's going to offend them. Verse 22. Hast thou faith? Somebody might say, I'm not condemned. I have the faith to eat it. That's great that you have the faith. It says, have it to thyself before the Most High. Meaning, don't offend your brother through your faith. Watch this. It says, happy is he that condemneth not himself in that thing which he, the Most High, alloweth. So happy is the person that doesn't condemn himself by offending his brother, even though the Most High allows the thing that you're doing. You see, it's great that you have faith, but you can actually condemn yourself through your faith because you're not considerate of others. See, what Paul is talking about is having a certain level of maturity. If your brother is offended by something that you're eating, you can wait till later to eat it. You don't have to have the sandwich right then. And that doesn't mean that you're wrong for eating the sandwich. But it's not about you being right or wrong. It's about showing brotherly love. We got to learn how to be disciplined. Maybe that brother doesn't have the understanding that you have in that area. So don't destroy that brother through your knowledge. Be considerate of his situation. That's what Paul is explaining. So again, there were people during this time who understood that they could eat meat, but they chose not to do it in front of other people because they didn't want to offend them. Now, whatever you eat, you have to be fully persuaded in your own mind that it's okay for you to eat it. Verse 23, it says, and he that doubteth is damned if he eat. If you eat anything in doubt, you're damned. Why? It says, because he eateth not of faith. Watch this. For whatsoever is not of faith is sin. So if you eat anything, but you're not sure if you should be eating it, that is a sin because you're not eating in faith. So make sure you know what you're eating so that you don't have that issue. So in conclusion, we are not commanded to be vegetarians. But if you choose to be a vegetarian, there's nothing wrong with that. However, there is one exception, and people always ask me this question. What about Passover? Well, here's the thing. If you're a vegetarian, it's not going to hurt you to eat a piece of lamb one day out of the year. Part of the Passover meal is lamb. So that is the exception to the rule. You must eat lamb on the Passover. But other than that, if you choose to only eat vegetables, there's nothing wrong with that. Also, there are health benefits to not eating meat all the time. Even if you do eat meat, you don't have to eat meat every day. You should balance out your diet with vegetables and fruits, nuts and grains and things of that manner. You don't always have to have a big giant steak on your plate. But at the end of the day, clean meat is lawful. as long as we acknowledge the Most High and thank Him for it. Now, before I end this video, please be advised, all general comments are accepted. If you disagree with something that I say, you have that right. However, if you attack me on a personal level outside of the scriptures and resort to name-calling and childish, unspiritual behavior, your comment will be erased and you will be blocked. Also, if you disagree with something that I teach, that's fine. You have the right to comment about it. But if you make a comment in disagreement and you don't use scriptures to support what you're saying, I won't block you, but your comment will be erased because I deal with scriptures, not opinions. Now, to the sincere Israelites who watch my videos, I'm not talking to y'all. I appreciate you guys for taking the time out to watch and listen. But I'm talking to these immature, non-spiritual trolls who always have something to say. But when you go to their page, 9 times out of 10, they don't have one single video teaching anything. But yet, they want to come on my page and teach in the comment section. I'm not allowing that anymore. So, with that being said, as always, I hope that somebody got some understanding from this video. And with that, I say, Shalom.